Have you ever noticed that when you have a conversation with somebody that's feeling like life sucks, that all of a sudden you're feeling bad? Or you talk to somebody who's super positive and telling you good things about yourself, and before you know it, you feel so good. Well, that is energy, friends. It can be high, it can be low. Some people refer to it as a vibration. And whatever you want to call it, we're going to talk about it today.
Love heals my hunger, mends my heart. I find the strength to make a new start. No more fear, no
Welcome,
more.
everybody, to Confessions of a Binge Eater. I'm Tricia Nelson, and I'm really excited to talk to you today about energy. And my guest is awesome. She's got beautiful energy and an incredible story. And yeah, we're just kicking it around, talking about what it takes to up level our energy so we can feel good, so we can shine our light as brightly as possible in the world. My guest, Allyson Scammell, is a master intuitive coach, psychic medium, and energy healer. Her mission is to help soul guided leaders, influencers, and entrepreneurs to upgrade their energy frequency to gain unstoppable momentum in life and business. She's the founder of the Soul Guide Academy and has helped thousands of leaders and light workers to earn more, serve more, and grow spiritually along the way. I'm so excited to have her here. She's really beautiful, and this is a great, uplifting conversation. Are you ready? Welcome, Allison. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
I am thrilled to be here, Trisha.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're doing a little podcast swap, so it was fun being on your show. And I love the work that you do. I love that you're in the Netherlands, and we have that in common because my guy is from the Netherlands. So I am excited to talk with you because I think talking about energy work, intuition, like all this is so important for the emotional eaters experience because we have a lot of blocked energy. In fact, we're eating sometimes because we're scared of our own energy. And so we're just shutting things down, shutting that still small voice down, even though we don't intend to. Sometimes we're afraid, right? We're afraid of what's inside. So I'm excited to talk with you about this. Can you tell me how you got into doing this kind of work from the life you've had?
Yeah, so I had a 17-year career in humanitarian response, and I lived in countries all over the world. And, I worked for government and international government and NGOs. And then I just started to feel really hollow. I just felt like in the countries I was in, I was doing a little tactical good, but not strategic good. So maybe I was helping a few communities here and there, but the overall state of the country, I felt like I was more part of the problem than the solution. And when I tried to speak truth to power, I just got shut down. And eventually I was like, this is not how I wanted to give back. So I started to leave that career, but it was really hard because it was all I ever did. And then in 2009, I had a near death experience. And it's kind of a long, big, deep, quite spiritual story. And if any of the listeners are interested in hearing the whole thing, it is a good one. It is a very good story. I do share it in a three-part series on my podcast, Soul Guide Radio. It's kind of too much to go into in a short amount of time. But what I can say happened is I was kind of blown open spiritually. Before that time, I didn't know about intuition. I didn't know about energy. I lived a very sort of three-dimensional life. And what was in front of me is what all there was. And I didn't know about deeper spirituality. I believed in Jesus and the teachings of Jesus, but it wasn't kind of more than that. And this NDE, this near death experience, changed everything. When I came back from that, I had completely blown open intuition. I had other spiritual abilities that, again, I didn't even know were possible. And then I started to go on a new path. I started to really find my soul alignment and the things that really lit me up. And I realized it was coaching and healing and teaching other soul guided folks how to tap into their own spiritual gifts. And that's kind of how I arrived to the work I do today.
Oh, beautiful. Gosh, I'm glad I asked. And I want to just honor you for following your guidance, getting curious about what's not feeling aligned and following that to your more aligned place. I want to say to your bliss, but it doesn't always feel like bliss, but
That's right.
that's where you're headed.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Can you talk to me and everybody about kind of the whole topic of energy work and what that means?
Yeah, I love that question. So I really work with people's energy body. So we have the physical body, and then you hear about the emotional body and the mental body, and connected to our physical body is the energy body. And so if you took the biggest, microscope in the world, and you took one of the atoms, you took a skin cell, and then you kind of drilled into the atom, and then you looked at the subatomic particles. At the end of the day, we're just energy, right? We're really our physical body is just very, very condensed energy. So when you think about emotions, emotions are energetic, and painful emotions have us vibrating at a very low vibration. That's why you can say, I'm feeling low vibe. If you're tired, if you're sad, if you're feeling shame or guilt, because you literally, when we're vibrating, underneath our human suits, our energy body, when we're sad, when we're in shame, when we're all these things, we're vibrating at a low vibration. But when we're happy, I don't even really like to use the word happy. I like to use the word joyful, when we're connected, when we're abundant, when we're in love. Those are very, very high vibrational emotions. However, in this personal development world we live in, many of us have taken or read books about mindset work. And I love mindset work. I can totally get up in my head and spin out of control. However, some of us have gotten so good at mindset work, we convince ourselves that we're feeling good when we're not. We're convincing ourselves that we are in a good place when we're actually exhausted, or we're in actually shame or depression or guilt. And the thing about energy is energy always tells the truth. So, what we're vibrating at is the real truth of what's happening. Even when our brain is saying, hey, everything's okay, I'm doing fine. Other people have it much worse off than I do. So, I'm okay, which is another, that's something I hear a lot from clients. So, our energy always tells us the truth. And as you know,
Oh,
Trisha, when we're feeling low vibe, what is the one of the things that we have the tendency to do is reach for food that doesn't serve us.
absolutely. I love the way you just described all that and how you can get into your head with mindset work, which can actually take you away from yourself, right? And your inner source of energy. I love that. I would say one of the best compliments I get, not tooting my own horn, I'm just saying this is what I hear a lot is, oh, you have good energy. Like people just say that to me, which is a huge compliment. I want people to feel that around me. And you have good energy, by the way, which is why we're vibing so much and we've had so much fun swapping podcasts. I think that's really important. And people, like you said, energy always tells the truth. Like when we're clear, when our channel is clear, when we're not blocked, I believe good energy is the natural order of things. Like that's how it should be. And it's the blocks that suck our energy and bring us down.
100%. When we are just in our truth, the truth of who we really are, we are either neutral to high vibe.
Yeah.
Low vibe is anything low vibrational is coming from energy blocks. And what those are, it's stored trauma. So if we had, let's say, a rough childhood, and when we're just little kids, we don't have the ability to healthfully process these painful emotions in the moment. So it's our body's defense mechanism, and thank God we do it, where we actually take it into pockets. I call them bubbles. We bubble them up and we chuck them deep in our energy system in those places where we can't emotionally or physically feel it. But unfortunately, bubbles or energy blocks can only stay stuffed down in for so long until they have to start bubbling to the surface. And when we do, that's when we start to feel that anxiety, feel that shame, feel that guilt. And that's not fun. It is not fun to feel that. So what we do is we
Yes.
reach for things like wine and Netflix and junk food to distract us from the bubbling up, right? And what we want to do instead is just notice. Just start by noticing, like I am bubbling, I am feeling something, and it's bubbling to my surface. I say when it makes your conscious awareness, that means you can feel it. Some of you, some listeners are gonna like, it'll appear first as a negative thought. You're not worthy, you're not good enough, like, or I'm overwhelmed. Like it'll come as a limiting thought. For other people, it'll start as a painful emotion. You'll just get like low grade anxiety that won't shut off. And then yet for others, you'll just feel a flip flop in the tummy or constriction in your throat chakra or something. So it kind of arrives, and sometimes when it's really heavy, you'll get a dose of all three. But I find with my clients that there's usually a go-to. You develop for it's usually thinking, feeling, or physical sensation. So when you start to get to notice what gets popping up for you, it can be kind of the first step that, oh, there's a bubble. And when you feel it, that means you can heal it. So the light side of this is telling you that there's something ready to be released. And when you release it, you're going to feel a whole hell of a lot better. Oops, can I say
I
that? Sorry,
Yes, you
heck of a lot
can.
better. Sorry,
Absolutely.
that just
Yes.
came out.
No, no worries. Yeah, I often tell my clients we need to feel, deal, and heal, And so, and I love how you put this in terms of bubbles because it's those pockets of emotions that we have buried so deeply. And it's my belief that a lot of times anxiety isn't necessarily what we think it is. It's really just either being out of alignment energetically, right? Like where something's not right in our life and it's calling us, the anxiety is calling us to notice that. Or it's just when those pockets are coming up, it's shaking the foundation and we're feeling crappy, and then we get to notice what's going on, right? So it's like I like how you're reframing that it's not all bad. When this is coming up, it's coming up so we can address it.
100%. And if you don't feel your painful emotion, it means it's actually not ready to heal. You can imagine like all of our little bubbles inside of us from the time we were born. And if you have the idea that we might have lived in past lifetimes, then we're lugging those trauma blocks with us, carrying it forward into this time as luggage, right? And if you don't have the belief, that's fine too. But if you imagine just from this lifetime that you're carrying all these blocks, it's a lot. And unfortunately, I wish we could just release it all in one sitting, but unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. So the reason why it stays tucked down, because we couldn't literally release it all at once, it would just overwhelm us.
Yeah.
So if you can feel it, it's a beautiful thing because it means that particular block is ready to be healed. And just like all things on our path, it's our own healing is subject to divine timing. So if you ever think to yourself, well, I should be over this by now because this challenge just keeps coming back and again and again and again. And I call that a core wound. We have core wounds that creates that core theme of our life experience and what we're supposed to learn from, heal from, grow to, and evolve to. You're actually not meant to be over it by now because we all have a lifelong journey with our healing. So if you do find that you have that thing that just keeps coming back, it's okay. That's by divine, guidance that it's arriving in that way. So have grace and compassion with yourself and just notice like, oh, I can feel it. That means I can heal it and it's ready to be healed.
I love it. Amen to that. Let's talk about that 5-step process you have to address when you feel blocked and when that block shows up as cravings.
Yes, love it. So I teach a 5-step process for releasing any blocked energy. And blocked energy is just when you have one of the three indicators. You're noticing a painful or limiting thought that feels true. We all have thought to ourselves, I'm not good enough, right? We've all said that to ourselves, but there's times in our lives where it feels true. And then there's times in our lives where we're like, heck no, I'm good enough. Are you crazy? I'm more than like, I'm amazing. I'm a powerhouse, right? So you want to notice when the painful or limiting thought feels true, because when it feels true, it will trigger the painful emotion, unworthiness, sadness, shame, depression, etc. But normally, like I said, it arrives the trigger, the warning. You want to notice the warning. I call it the awareness in your outer reality or in your body that I have a painful thought or emotion, or I have a painful thought or story that feels true. I have a painful emotion present. I have a constricting sort of shackles on heavy feeling in my body. If you're noticing one of those three things, you've got an energy block ready to be released. Now, you can be in very neutral energy or even higher. Like, let's say you wake up in the morning and you feel great and you're like, I'm so excited for my day. You can add this, and this is actually the best time to do it. Add energy block release as part of your morning practice, and you can call up the blocks, which is actually the best time to release some because you're in a high vibey open energy. So you're not as scared of the blocks or trying to keep them tamped down. You're like bring it all up. I'm ready to release. So you don't have to like just be in the moment feeling sad. You can actually also be in a neutral place or higher and call up the blocks. So either way, you're going about your day and you get in a fight with your spouse and you're triggered, okay, yes, you can do this process, or you can do it just as part of your morning routine, which I really recommend people adding some sort of variation to this, like this energy block release to their morning practice.
Oh, I love that. So let's hear about it. How do we do this?
So the step one is the scan and look within. So if it's morning practice, you're going to start there. If you're going about your day and you had a difficult client call and you get off and you're just feeling yucky, you're going to kind of notice that, like, you're going to notice, like, scan and look within, like, um, I feel yucky from this client call. What really went happen? Or if you're just starting it as your morning practice, you're just going to like scan and look within and just start to call stuff up. You want to call up the blocked energy, call up what's ready to be released in this moment. And then step two is to narrow down on the painful thought. Some listeners are going to find the emotion is easier to identify, and some listeners are going to find the thought easier to identify, and some listeners are going to find the physical sensations easier to identify. So, wherever you are, I invite you to land on a thought that feels most painful and prominent, and it feels true in the moment. So, it doesn't mean it always feels true, but it feels true in the moment. So, if you get a negative emotion first, like guilt, then you want to ask, what is the story I'm telling myself that's triggering the guilt? I should be more present with my kids. Ah, okay, there's the painful thought, right? So then once you land on a painful thought or story that feels true, at least part of the time, even if not all the time, you want to go to step three, which is name the painful emotions, and or you can also name the physical sensations that get triggered when the thought feels true. So when I feel the thought, I should be more present with my kids, I feel guilty, I feel shame, I feel sadness, I feel angry, I feel overwhelmed, and I feel it in my solar plexus, which is around your gut. I feel constriction in my heart. So you want to name like how it's showing up. And for some of us, actually naming the emotions will be hard. And what you'll want to do is just name more painful thoughts because my husband doesn't support me, because I have too much on my list, because my mom doesn't support me. Like, you'll want to go to more painful thoughts, but you want to land on one painful thought per release, right? And
Okay.
get to emotions. So it's one painful thought per release, and then naming painful emotions, not just more painful thoughts. So that's
Okay.
step three, getting to the
Okay.
actual emotions: sadness, depression, anger, numbness is an emotion. Like those are the emotions. Then you go to step four, and this is where, and this is the real healing process right here. As step four is you feel the feels. So let's say you've named shame, guilt, and sadness. You just want to invite those emotions up from deep inside. You just want to fully and completely feel the physical sensations, feel the tactile sensations. That is you calling up the bubble of blocked energy, feeling it, experiencing it so that you can release it. And it ultimately pops the bubble. And in energy talk, block, you transmute the energy into what? Life force. You transmute it into your natural high vibey state of love and light and joy and connection and peace and abundance. So that's what's naturally underneath the blocked energy. So
Yeah.
every time you release a heavy, weighing you down energy block, you're raising your overall frequency. So after you feel the feels, and usually, unless it's if it's a big trauma block, um, this and if it just feels too much, this is the time there are some times where we just can't operate on ourselves. So if you're feeling something quite big and intense and it just feels too much to feel on your own, I would hire a good energy healer. I would go to a good therapist who could hold the space for you. Like I said, we can't always operate on ourselves, right? We got to go to someone to help hold the space. But if it feels okay and you're like, I'm ready to get rid of this, see if you can feel as much as you can feel in the moment. For usually, if it's not big T trauma, usually you can release most of the bubble in about 90 seconds. So we're not talking very long. But if you can be, and very important as part of part four is you're in the body, you're embodied. I say you want to go out of your mind, get out of your head, you're sunk into your body, feeling the feels, feeling the physical sensations, about 90 seconds. And then once the emotional wave, because we feel emotions in waves, starts to go down, it starts to feel less intense. You can still feel a little of it. It doesn't have to be gone completely, but it's just you've reached the peak of it. It's starting to go down. Then you go to deep belly breathing and really exhale is the release. And by the time you get to a third belly breath, I promise you, you're going to feel so much better. And if you are thinking about heading to the cupboard to grab a bag of chips, you will be like probably just not even interested in it anymore.
I love it. Thanks, Allison. And that's so right on, right? It's like feel, deal, and heal. And it's, and it's really getting present with what's going on, which, when we do get present to what's going on, our fear is that it's going to overtake us. It's too much to handle, but you're giving us these very practical steps. I love how you created 5 steps through that. And, it's being with it and moving through it isn't nearly as painful as all the effort it takes to run from it, right? By eating the bag of chips. Like it's so much easier to spend that 90 seconds right here, right now with it, moving through it, than it is eating the bag of chips and then all the self-recrimination and then feeling yucky and then our pants getting tight. And then right? It's like, it's a much easier, sweeter, self-caring path that's more expedient, right? You've just done some really powerful work right there, 90 seconds.
100%. And when think about the bubbles. Okay, so let's go back to we're on the couch. We got in a fight with our spouse. We're starting to feel like depressed about it and blaming ourselves and the bubbles are bubbling, but we don't experience the bubbles to release them. But instead we go to the bag of chips. Then we feel guiltier. Our body feels worse. We start to beat ourselves anymore and it creates more bubbles. So now
Yes.
we just had two maybe bubbles. Now we got three bubbles, four bubbles. Now we really feel weighed down and we get even more low vibrational and that just feels worse. So just noticing, like ultimately, your pathway to feeling better is just noticing what's present, feel the feels, breathe and release.
I love that. So right on and so important for us on our healing journey. So thanks so much, Allison. It's so nice to have you here. We are so aligned in our beliefs, our processes. We call them different things and we serve different people, but I really feel like we're very aligned. So thank you for bringing such a beautiful message and a very refreshing way of looking at this beautiful way of up-leveling our energy and having, the energy that we want. We all want good energy, and lots of it, you know?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much.
So,
And it was wonderful to be here. And I love, let me just join the chorus. I love your energy.
thank you. I hope that didn't sound braggy when I said that. I was like, oh, that was a weird thing to say. Anyway, thank you. Um, And I would love for people to know how to get a hold of you. Please share.
Yes. So, it's really funny right now, Trisha. I always have free gifts, and I'm sort of in between free gifts right now, but I'm feeling called because I'm working on a new one right now, but I have an old one. It's not that old, and it's my best freebie I've ever made. And so I'm going to resurrect it because it's so good, and I think your listeners would really love it. And it's called 10 High Vibe Minutes. And all it is it's a 10-minute inner reflection or spiritual practice, or however you would relate to it, first thing in the morning or at any time in your day where you really need a little energetic pick me up. And it takes you through the 5 steps that I just took you through to release any bubbles that may be present, and then really just help your frequency to rise. So if you're feeling down in the dumps or you're feeling like a little blah, you can listen to it. Or it's really designed to listen to first thing in the morning as part of your AM ritual to get going. So I would love to share my
Please do.
wonderful little
Please
AM
do.
spiritual ritual I call
I
10
love
High
it.
Five Minutes.
I
And
love
so
that.
I'm gonna so you can find it at AllysonScammell.com/high vibe.
And
And you can
we'll
find
put it in the show notes also.
perfect. And yes, you can learn more about me on my website, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook, as well as my own podcast, Soul Guide Radio.
Love it. Thank you so much. And I was honored to be a guest on your podcast. So thanks for being a guest. It's so lovely to meet you. Let's keep the conversation going. And for everybody listening, your vibe has definitely been up leveled during these past 30 minutes. So, so yay for all of us. We've all been up leveled by this conversation. So thanks so much, Allyson.
Thank you.
If you're ready to get off the dieting roller coaster ride and finally make peace with food and with your body, talk to a Heal Your Hunger mentor about what steps you need to take based on your own history with food and weight. Go to healyourhunger.com and register for an emotional eating breakthrough session and see how fast you can experience real change. It's a complimentary evaluation, but there are limited spots available. So go to healyourhunger.com and register to speak with a mentor today.